Do you move the fib as it goes for your entry, or do you leave it based on the first swing if it makes sense? Yes. I move it as it goes. So, you've definitely seen it in person. Let me just go to where we are. I think we're on Tuesday-ish. I put a line somewhere. Where's the line? Here's the line. Okay. So, for example, I'll just replay to this point really quick. Let's take this swing, for example, right? Let's pull this fib back here. Let's say we opened up, and let's just pretend this is a zone for the sake of the example. And as price prints, it goes higher and higher without returning to the zone or without returning to discount. So once it returns to discount, then the zone is like null and void. Of course, we're also watching to see if the fib gets, if the standard deviation gets hit at the same time, right? But assuming that 1.5 has not been hit, which, you know, bad example here, but assuming that 1.5 standard deviations is not hit yet, then we can continue to wait for discount. But once discount is hit and maybe the zone is left behind, discount is hit and then 3 gets traded into, creating 6, or the high gets traded into, right? Then this zone becomes null and void, or I'm no longer like watching this as the retracement zone. I'm then like watching for like a new Q3, for example, and then moving the fib along that new swing. But yes, the short answer is I move the fib with the swings as they form. We don't just keep it on the first swing. So the yes or no, do you move it, is did price return to discount prior to the new swing? So let me try to find another example here. I already have price where I need it to be so I can clear everything out. Let's just use this big gigantic huge swing, right? We don't close the zone until here, which it does make it a Q3 zone here, and of course we missed this one obviously, but let's say we have our fib drawn initially here to this swing, hoping that it'll come back and tag us in. It never comes back. So then as price keeps printing, literally every new low that's made, I just keep following it, and then once it, like, you know, even if it comes all the way down, what ends up happening is this just becomes your previous day's OTE, right? Like if you, which is essentially what I've done here is so this becomes literally OTE of previous day if it never comes back. Does that answer your question? If you need more, I'm happy to give more. I think that does it. Sweet. Okay, does anyone else have any questions before we start? Oh, let me tag everybody. I'm not trading live, by the way. We're backtesting, guys. Backtesting early. Send now. Alright, so if you are just now joining us, let me close my personal pages really quick. Okay. If you're just joining us for the first time, or if you're watching this on replay, or if you've never seen this model at all, what we are backtesting as a group every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday is Adrian's 5-minute manipulation to 4-hour expansion model. It's a mouthful. We will figure out a name. But the way the model works, the way we set up for it, is we mark out previous day high, previous day low, and then we fib up OTE in the direction of previous day's close. So if previous day's close bullish, we close it bullish. We draw it bullish. If it closed bearish, then we draw it bearish. We also draw nice Cryptic, hey. We also draw the fixed range volume profile. Hi Alpha, welcome. And the fixed range volume profile doesn't matter what direction you draw it on, because it's going to be with the volume anyway. So once you have those items on your chart, then we will bump up to the 1 hour chart and mark out all of our PD arrays. When I say all of our PD arrays, that really just should say fair value gaps. We're just marking up our 1 hour imbalances. Then from there, we drop down to a 5-minute chart and we wait for the model to play out. So we wait for a 5-minute change in state of delivery to occur during Q3. Once the change in state of delivery is confirmed, it is leaving behind this manipulation zone. We wait for expansion out of that zone, and then we draw out our OTE as well as our PD arrays that are occurring within that expansion, or within that OTE area in that zone. And then once price returns to the zone, tapping both OTE retracement levels and the zone simultaneously, then we take the trade towards targeting these standard deviations: 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. So if we're approaching another 4-hour candle, another 5-minute deviation may occur, right? And this deviation should present the same narrative as the previous deviation, meaning they're adding confluence to one another and kind of telling the same story. And what that means is like the levels would basically match up. So 4.5 is around 2.5, vice versa, or even the 4s can be around one another. But you want the manipulation to be occurring in the same direction as this manipulation. If it is counter trend, then you actually want it to be something like this, where your new manipulation that is occurring is either going to take out that high or previous high, or it's going into OTE of this expansion leg down. You'll see examples of that as we get into more price action live, but it's actually similar to this, where we have previous day closing bullish apparently, and then our OTE range is down here. And so our fib levels that are forming from these 5-minute manipulation swings or change in state deliveries are actually pointing us towards this OTE area. Once we get into this OTE area, a 5-minute manipulation forms and it points us back to previous day high. So if you're unfamiliar with like daily bias, I really encourage you to go watch the mechanical daily bias video that's in my channel under the Asia London section in the Discord, or you can just go to my YouTube channel. I will link that now actually. You also may want to just watch the entire playlist for this model in general, but starting with the mechanical daily bias will set you up for success. Basically, using previous day's close as your daily bias, and then waiting for previous day EQ or OTE as your potential low or high of day, and then targeting your corresponding previous day high or previous day low. So for example, if previous day closed bullish, then your OTE is bullish, right? So you would wait for price to get into OTE, wait for a low of day to form, and then you would target previous day high. Vice versa, if you're bearish, previous day closed bearish, OTE is somewhere up here, you wait for price to trade up into OTE, form a swing high, and then you will take it towards previous day low. This is a very, very basic way of trading a daily bias in a very simplistic form every single day. And this model pretty much presents itself, it gives us the opportunity to do that. So once we have this narrative on our chart, then we mark out, sorry, I already went through that. Once we are in the trade, we are trailing our stops to BE once we trade towards 1.5 standard deviations. If 1.5 standard deviations is reached before we return to the zone, that trade is invalidated, because 1 to 1.5 deviations is where a manipulation swing is likely to occur if we are trading counter trend. So if we're offside and we're trading in the wrong direction, price will come straight down to 1 to 1.5 deviations and then trade right back up, creating a new change of state delivery in the opposite direction of our incorrect bias. All right. I'm sorry, I haven't quite nailed that intro down yet. Does anyone have any questions based on what I've discussed so far? I will go ahead and share this link with you guys as well. This is all the data that we've collected on the specific model. We've been backtesting this since the beginning of April, so we're about 107 reps today. And my goal for this session is to finish up all of our February reps, which I think is very possible. I think we can do it. So you guys can feel free to drop questions in the chat if you have any. I'm going to set up my chart in the meantime. So we already have previous day high, previous day low, with OTE mapped out for us. This is done by the automatic OTE Pro Plus indicator made by 2 Degrees. If you want access to that indicator, please feel free to use code Kingline for 20% off. Sorry. Then, wrong tool. We're gonna mark out fixed range volume profile in the direction of our bias. So if last day closed bullish, my next day I expect to be bullish as well. Yes. I'm gonna take a quick second to digress here. This is all discussed in that mechanical daily bias video, Alpha. I do recommend you watching that, but very basic to where this idea comes from is for me it's rooted in a series by ICT called Mastering High Probability Scalping. So the idea in this video is that when you have a swing high, right, and price breaks through that swing high, then price trades lower and we form a swing low. After this swing low forms, and the swing low is confirmed when you trade through the 3rd day. So a swing low is 3 candles, right? So on the 4th day, when we trade through the 3rd candle that's part of that swing low, then every single day we're bullish until we form a swing high, right? So again, you have 3 candles here, a low with a higher low to the left and a higher low to the right. On the 4th day, when we close above the 3rd candle, then every single day you're targeting previous day high until a swing high forms. Okay. Likewise, to add to this, T-Trades has a video called Daily Bias or Simple Daily Bias or something like that. But the concept is very much the same, in which once you have a closure above or below previous day high or previous day low, respectively, then you just continuously target previous day high, previous day low. Now, this is very simplistic. This is a very basic way to form daily bias. You can start to implement more advanced theories to have a better grasp on daily bias. Like, for example, if we've traded into a fair value gap, if we've taken a high, if we failed to close below a wick, or we failed to close below the low, right? Also, other things, if we fail to take a high, things like that. If we've expanded for 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, you probably don't want to trade the 4th day, things like that. All of this is sort of discussed in the mechanical daily bias video that I did. You could also watch T-Trade's video. You could also implement like the weekly news calendar, or the economic calendar, I mean, or you can even watch the Mastering High Probability Scalping video by ICT that I mentioned, or the series. So that's where that idea comes from, ideology comes from. All right, so now back to this. Hopefully we can get through some reps. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to drop them. Again, I've drawn on our fixed range volume profile. We have OTE already mapped on. Our most recent Q3 that we can go by, I believe, is this guy right here. I believe maybe this was the rep that we were about to take, perhaps, when we ended this session, and I was kind of like starting to lose my gas here. Let me zoom in. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with this down close candle for the zone, because this is the high that created this low. And then I'm gonna draw a fib on here to see if we've already reached 1.5 standard deviations, and we have, so we can't take this trade anyway, so we will let price play out here. All right, and good thing we did not take it. It stopped out. So see, that is the reason. That's a good example. I was offside, right, and price traded straight through 1 to 1.5 standard deviations. price will usually do that. It will speed right up to these deviations and then turn right back around. And this is where the counter trend manipulation is likely to form in this area, 1 to 1.5. Sometimes obviously it can go further than that. All right, so we're below previous day low already. We're gonna wait for Q3 to give us another manipulation, hopefully. Okay. So we have this one here with the close above that candle, just like this. Now, I've gone over this before, but because we've already broken below previous day low and our OT was already bearish, meaning previous day already closed bearish, when we are taking a trade here, like if we get a trade presented to us here, we really don't want to aim past previous day low, because once you break through any key level without retesting it, when you go back up to that level, you're likely to retest it and fail first before any sort of like failure of that level, and then it becomes a resistance type of thing. And again, because the bias was already bearish, right? So it's bound to go up to that level and then die from there instead of continuing in the opposite direction. So we'll just see how this plays out so you can see what I'm talking about. Or if I'm wrong, it can just trade right above it and then come back to it and retest it from the upside and then trade higher into these equal highs here. All right, so again, another instance in which we can't take the trade anyway because 1.5 standard deviations was already met. So we will not be partaking in that. I do want to watch to see if maybe I grabbed the wrong swing. Okay, so either way, no go. So here we are at previous day low. Again, we just keep watching. Our goal with this model is only to achieve 1 trade per day. Some days we get more than 1 trade. Some days we don't get any trade at all. So it's very normal to let a day pass by, especially a Monday without trades. Although on this specific Monday, we did already record a few reps. All right, so we're into end of day here with no opportunity presenting itself. Yep, okay. So that's Monday done. Now we'll just scooch on over to Tuesday. All right, so now again, automatic OTE has done the work for us. It's drawn out previous day high, previous day low. We will mark out our fixed range volume profile. Let me delete everything. Fixed range volume profile. You don't need to draw it in the direction of the bias. I just do that to be safe. Point of control is matching up right with EQ. I'm going to, yes, automatic OTE. I'm going to share it with you. Stefan. Copy link. There it is. If you need the WAP link, let me know. I can give you the WAP link as well. But that should, in the description, they should have like a way for you to get to it. Like to actually get to the real deal. So I'm gonna... Oh, no worries, BMB. I've started early because because I'm trying to finish up before Adrian hops on. Again, it's always recorded, but you know, you live your best life and then come back. It's good to step away from the charts. I'm sure I'll still be here. Yeah, this is paid. If you use code Kingline, it's 20% off. I apologize. But you know, you could just fib it up, right? You could just simply fib it up. It's just super convenient that it does it for you every single day. So all right, so I drew our 1 hour Sibi in here. Okay. That's hilarious. I'm sure there's a free OTE tool out there somewhere. There has to be. I can't imagine that there is not. All right, so we just straight up took previous day low right away. This is Q1, so you know, nothing happening. We will wait for Q3 to present us an opportunity. So once Q3 has printed, right, you're simply just like looking to your left to see where's your most recent highs and lows. So this low in Q3, I would just wait for a close below that for manipulation, or a close above this for manipulation. So if we close the high, then we have a bullish CSD. If we close the low, we have a bearish CSD. And this is exactly how I would read it live. I would just wait literally until something happens. So right now, the low that has formed, that's obvious and unmistakable and undisputable, unambiguous, is this one right here. And it's not a Q3 manipulation, therefore we do not trade it. Very simple. You just sit on your hands. Anya alluded to this in her stream yesterday, is that like we're raised, we're conditioned, especially in America, to like just work, right? You're not doing anything, or you're like not successful if you're not working. It is the opposite in trading. You sit on your hands and you don't do anything. Don't do it. And this is how you will find success most of the time. All right, so we did close that low, as I mentioned, this guy right here, and it's in Q2, so it doesn't matter. But again, we just watch. We're tapping this manipulation right now. Let's see if it holds, or it does not, and it doesn't. So now our manipulation goes to here. And again, this is exactly how I would read it live. Once it fails, then I just, my eyes go to a different area and I say, okay, that was actually the manipulation. It's bound to happen a lot more with the Q1, Q2, Q4 manipulations, because half of the time they're occurring in Q3. So your most probable manipulation is going to occur during Q3, which is why we're specifically testing Q3. Okay, see, you already got the autofib. Share the link if you don't mind. Oh, sorry, Cryptic. Do you need me to stop? I can pause really quick. What's up? I can totally wait for you. Okay, all right. Great. If you don't mind sharing that stuff in, I'm sure the team would love it. Although if you guys do decide to get automatic OTE and use code Kingline, all of our affiliate commissions go to you guys as our members. So this is something that I've discussed with the backtest group quite a bit. This is the signature that I look for in a manipulation. We have a low, right? We have fair value taking that low, and we have fair value trading back up above that low. Very simple criteria, right? So we have a low. That's it. Oops. A low forms, and then we have fair value forming to take that low, right? Then we take it. Then we have fair value coming out of that low, back above it. This is the simple signature that I look for to say, okay, this is a solid manipulation. What time is it occurring? It's occurring during Q3. Even better, I want to take this trade, this manipulation. And that's just as simple and mechanical as it can be. All right, so when you have the indicator open on the side here, you right click and you go about this script. About this script will pull up this big page, and then you go to these. There you go. Nice. Oops. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Guys, I closed the window. I apologize. We're off to the races, I swear. We're gonna get somewhere today. Tuesday, I think. Yes, Tuesday. Okay. Where was I on Tuesday? I guess I was here. Okay. Somewhere around here. Oh, a little bit further back. Okay. So again, we were bearish on the day. We're aiming for OTE to get the real short of the day. We have our fib drawn up, and this is our zone that has formed so far. We do have displacement right above it. We want to see price displace away before we take the trade. All right. So this is the thing, okay? So just right here. This is an instance where I can see Adrian wanting to take this trade. This is his model, by the way. No worries, BNB. Please drive safely. To be honest with you, I'm very close, or not. Let me not size it. I'm associates and colleagues with 2 degrees and his team, and I'm sure if I came to him and said, "Hey, I want to make an indicator out of this," they would be all over it. I'm 100%. But I would need to like backtest this extensively before I bring any kind of BS to their door. Like I need to make sure it's good to go, you know? Just because like I've had like TFO, for example, I back tested the model for like 300 reps. As soon as I had that done, he went and made an indicator out of that. And honestly, I got a lot of flack for that indicator. It just like once people started trading it, it started losing a lot. And that specific model, it works for trends specifically, and there are different conditions that you can add to it to make it more profitable. But the indicator itself was literally just like the bare bones of the model, which is what you want really, so that you can kind of adjust it to how you want to use it. So yeah, I say that to say I can probably turn this into an indicator with Adrian's blessing at some point. We can probably do a collaboration on it, but I would have to backtest this forward and backwards and like make sure that it's very solid and very mechanical. Okay, now what I was saying is that Adrian would probably take this on the top of the zone, right? What I don't like about this is that in this instance where we get our first moment of displacement, we close right through it. This is what I'm talking about when I say when you get the change of state delivery, you really want to see continuation right away. You don't want to see none of this closing business below BISCs that you've created. If it's expanding, it should be expanding. It shouldn't be doing any of this, right? Now I can tell you we can't take this trade anyway because it's not OTE. I can see that by eye. So I can see that we haven't reached EQ at a minimum there. And then before we even reached into EQ, we got this closure of this BISC. So I don't like it. So I'm gonna opt to not take this trade here. Now another thing again is that I don't want to long into previous day low. Our bias was bearish, right? Now this could be flipping previous day low and it could be going long, but our bias was bearish. We have already traded below previous day low. At this point, we should be treating the previous day low as EQ, and you don't necessarily want to long into that. You kind of want to wait for confirmation, so wait until price trades above that again, or you get like a definitive expansion out of this area. We have another trade that Stefan pointed out in our last video, another rep where I didn't take a short, and it was because we were previous day high and our bias was already bullish. So once we got above previous day high, we don't want to short into that. We kind of want to wait for confirmation to say, okay, we are definitely flipping this area. So I will not take this trade, long story short. Okay, so now we are back. We didn't quite close it yet. If we get a reclaim, maybe. Okay, so stop ran of a theoretical trade that we weren't going to take anyway, but stop ran here, so good thing we didn't take it. And this is why when you see that change of state delivery, you want to see continuation. You really don't want to see closures below BISCs at that point, because this is a classic run on buy stops when you get this kind of price action. All right, so it comes back to run sell stops here. Let's see if Q3 is going to do something nice. It's not. Okay, so then we continue to wait. We take a nap. We go work out. We touch some grass. We have some coffee. We kiss our kids goodbye. Send our spouses to work. And no Q3. Darn. Then the opening bell comes. And it leaves us behind completely. Okay. So then We go back to working out. We go read a book, take a nap. We do something else. Oh no, this is tragic. This might be one of those weeks where we don't get a trade until like Wednesday or something. Oh no. Okay. Here we go. This is end of day, so this sucks, right? Because I already know how this is gonna end. We have a Q3 we have a Q3 manipulation here. CISD occurring right there on the close of this. Now again, you want that displacement, right? So I'm gonna draw out OTE there, and you really want something to happen before that 1510 macro. Still no expansion. Okay, so we won't even get an entry here. Ooh, price is continuing to die, guys. YM and NQ have taken previous days low. Ay, ay, ay. So my objective, let me just digress again really quick. I'm sorry. My objective for the week has already been met. So this sell-off here, I'm loving it. 100% loving it. I just wanted to get to this high. As soon as we got up, we came back down. And it's dropping like a rock. It's gone. Okay, so... Alright, so it's 4. So we're not going to take an entry. Alright, so now... We've gone a day and a half here with no trades. We had a couple of trades very, very early Monday. I think it was even like London Monday. So we trade into Wednesday. If you don't think you can forego trading on Monday and Tuesday, you probably might not even want to watch this backtest, to be honest with you. Don't force yourself to do something you don't want to do. Alright, so we have previous day high, previous day low, automatic OTE already drawn out for us. We will draw our fixed range volume profile. I just like to draw it in a direction just to be cautious. You don't have to do it. We're going to go up to our hourly chart. We are going to draw out our hourly imbalances. So the first one that catches my eye is this BPR. The next one that catches my eye is this gigantic SIBI. And I think that is all we have. We have another one here, but it's below EQ. We're already above it. So I'm going to leave price just like that. Previous day we had no trades, so there's not really much for me to go off of. So I'm just going to let price play out again until we get our first Q3 and see if something presents itself. Okay, so we have our first CISD. I don't like this because it's at EQ. I actually hate when the day opens up at EQ. I prefer for it to open up in like discount and then go to premium, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. So we have this right here, this small little guy, and 4 to 4.5 brings us right into that hourly SIBI CE. 5 brings us into the BPR, but this is all you know, golden pocket to OTE level. So now let's see if we get the trade or not. We first need OTE to be met. Okay, so as price expands up, we move our fib up with it. And then again, and then 1.5 is hit. So again, we can't take a trade. I mentioned a couple of videos back. I was editing videos today, so I know I mentioned it a couple of videos back, but we're starting to get into the time of year where we started to have a lot of volatility. We started having these gigantic expansions. So what, this is like a 500 point day, Tuesday. So this is the time of year where everything starts just going berserk. So I mentioned that we could probably see a losing streak, or we can just see a lot of missed trades for stuff like this where it's already expanding to 1.5 deviations and we can't really get anything out of it. So we will remove this as a possibility. I'll keep the fibs on just to see how the levels play out. Again, the reason why we don't take the trade when it reaches up to 1.5 deviations without returning to the zone is the possibility that we are trading counter trend. And if we are possibly offside, you don't want to take the entry when it knifes back into your limit order. Oops. Alright, here's another Q3. Okay, this is not the manipulation that you want to see. So this is like, I'd be forcing it if I said this is a manipulation. Q2 low is here, right here and here. And we did not take out that low. And this is like consolidation. So you don't want to force a manipulation out of something that's not a clear manipulation. Again, you want to look for that signature that I mentioned. We have fair value going above the high and then fair value going back below the high, or vice versa. None of this is that. So again, to the next Q3 we go. We've already traded up to this deviation, so this is already met. We just didn't get the return to the zone down here. Let me see if it even came back to OTE at some point. Okay, yeah, so it did come to EQ right there after it got to this high. Once it ran that 1.5 that we can't trade after. Again, it's 7 a.m. We all went to work out by now. We're making breakfast for our families. Okay. We have Asia consolidation. Well, Asia just traded up. London manipulation up here. Is it gonna close in Q3? Of course it's not. Did we get the close? We got the close. It didn't happen in Q3. JD's Q3 inverse oftentimes leads to a solid CISD. Yeah, I bet. I'm sure. Because it's the same time technically. The microcycle Q3 is 9:45 to 10:08. And this one starts at 9, so it's 9 to 10:30 for this Q3. Okay. Ooh, this is not pretty. So this would be our zone here. Obviously, big sections. This is also, again, not characteristic of what we want to see for that Q3 manipulation. But it's, you know, we've ran lows, we've ran session liquidity. This is where the A+ setup is usually going to happen. Session liquidity. Alright, our deviation is up there until this idea is invalidated. We will draw out OTE. So the very first place we can take an entry is here if it comes back. I don't like this for displacement. We really want to see a fair value gap of some sort. Okay, it doesn't look like we're gonna get a chance anyway. Okay, yeah, so 1.5 met. Again, another opportunity we can't take. Brutal. So this is the Q3 that's holding so far. Consolidation through lunch. Comes right back. Flips the zone. Alright, so now here's another Q3. And do we get a change of state delivery? Oh my goodness, this has to be earnings. Okay, so another day, no trade. So that is 2.5 days, no trade now. And then clears the charts. This is actually turning out to be super easy. I should have finished this the other day. I gave up like right before all these no trades started coming. That's hilarious. Could have finished February over the weekend. Alright, so fixed range volume profile one more time. Oh my goodness. And point of control just happens to meet up with OTE again in this area. It's saying previous day closed bullish. Going to believe it. Saying, okay, daily open was there. Okay, yeah, so it closed bullish slightly. Jump up to our hourly chart. The only PD array, BPR, or the only hourly imbalance. Alright. Play through. We're gonna keep getting Q2 manipulations, it looks like. Let's see if we get a close below this low for Q3 CISD. We do not. Until Q4. Well, yeah, close it there. Okay, another trade we can't take, or another framework we can't take. We're just kind of consolidating around EQ right now. Around OTE to EQ. Here's London. We're at 25% of previous day's range. Okay, finally. Q3 manipulation right here. I think. Yes. So right on this close at 3 a.m. This is a Q3. This candle is during Q3, so it's a Q3 manipulation. We have our change in state delivery right here. I will follow this with OTE. Again, we have the high. We have fair value above the high. We have fair value gap coming back below the high. So as soon as we can take a trade is right there. I would like to see further displacement, I will say, but you know, we may not get it. Okay, well that I don't like. This I do not like at all. I'm still going to take it. So imagine that I have all the positions up, right? We're targeting 1.5 as our first target. Alright, so remember what I said before in the most previous rep, or the rep maybe that we didn't even get. But when you are like here, right? We fail to displace after the CISD. And then before our entry is met, we close this SIBI. Now this is not ideal. You don't want to take this, honestly. Usually I would skip this as a rep because it meets our narrative of bearish price action, right? Previous day, sorry, no it doesn't. Previous day closed bullish, not bearish. We traded up above EQ. Okay, I'm going to take it just because the manipulation is clean. And because we haven't gotten a rep this entire backtest session. So I'm going to take it. Just this is kind of like streaming live, right? We kind of sometimes just take trades because we haven't taken the trade. But I'm going to take this to see where it leads. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it brings us back into OTE. So our first target is 1.5. We will hold as long as 4.5 if we're given the opportunity to trail our stops. So imagine I took the entry, my stop loss is at the high. Imagine I have entries all at every single level. So we only have this one entry so far. And now we have our second entry, and now we have all four. And we get stopped out. And that's why you don't take that trade. So again, remember the signature, okay? When you have the CISD, you 100% want to see further displacement after that CISD. You don't want to see none of this nonsense. If your entry is reached before, or sorry, if you close out a SIBI or a BISI before your entry is reached, just remove your limit. for this reason, because if once it runs that low, if it's lacking displacement, this is a run on sell side, right? So now I have to battle with myself. Do I track this brutal trade or not? I'm gonna go ahead and track it just to say I didn't form fit. CISC is there. Hi, John Vier. All right. Copy link, sorry. All right, we got all 4 entries there. This is definitely going to skew the win rate a bit here. We do audit all the reps at some point, like when we do our first revision or our first refinement. At that point, we go through all the reps to make sure they're all valid reps. So if Adrian disagrees on this, or whoever is there during the refinement with me, then these reps get removed. Things like this, where I'm trading opposite of bias, things like that, or I didn't track the data correctly. I did go back, Stefan, and I did change all the losing trades to, or all the stop loss trades to -1R. Alright, so sends it back. I'm gonna copy the link one more time. It's Thursday, February 20th. No, that can't be right. February 25th. Wait. 27th. My goodness. February 27th. Sorry, Notion is lagging again. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them now. This is a long, quiet process on my end. Thursday. And this was a short. So this is actually an example of how you don't want to trade in real life, where you're just taking a trade because you haven't taken one. 320. It happens a lot to live streamers, especially because we want to present an opportunity for you guys to take. 320. Let me drop the chart first, actually. Okay. We can put in all of the stop losses. This is all -1R. And then all of our entry levels, 0.5. 618, 705, 79. Zooming in. I just want to see the PD array that we all got. Alright, so this was OB, inversion, OB, OB. I can do fair value gap and inversion. So, sorry, OB and fair value gap, OB, OB, OB. Yeah, okay. Oh, Notion, don't do this. OB. And the quarter was all during Q3. And this would be during the 2 to 6 a.m. candle. For me, no, to be honest with you. I mean, there are certain, like, there's only a situation where I missed the entry of my A+ setup, and then I take the continuation, right? Because that's essentially what risk thinking is. But no, I don't have a B+ setup. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. Probably not. I really look for this happening, but what makes it my A+ setup is that it's taking out session liquidity. So here, for example, how we didn't take out this high, this is probably data, right, or earnings. I wouldn't take this in real life. And then of course, because of this happening, I also wouldn't take that in real life. But you know, mechanically for the model, I took it. But yeah, I would wait until we liquidated, like from here, when we liquidate this, I would wait for a setup. Or this right here, even like forming Asia low, I would try to take this setup as much as possible. But no, I don't really have a backup setup, to be honest. Yeah, and you know, like that's the thing too, is like if you know, if there's other things you're willing to entertain, then you just do exactly what you're talking about, like either use evals or use size differently. Like, or like for example, like this, if I was taking that trade in real life and I know that there's no session liquidity and I'm trading counter trend, maybe I don't go into a full size, right? I just go half size instead. I don't risk my normal like 25% of the account, I just risk 10% of the account. Yeah, just like you said, go in with evals 100%, because then if you're wrong, no harm, no foul, you lose an eval, and then, or you lose half your eval if you risk like me, and then if you get it right, then great, you pass an eval. No, there's no like existential crisis. Yes, exactly, or less risk sync accounts, even 100%. All right, so hold on a second, let me grasp myself here. I shouldn't even be tracking this trade, I'm going to be honest with you, but I just have to, since I decided to take it, I'm going to track it. This is just like journaling. Have to track it. That was 35 minutes. That was no SBS. It would have been 2, I guess, but it didn't play out. No SBS. Okay, I got that. Let me zoom into this trade now. Copy link. So that's our first one. Man. I think this is the perfect time to do a refinement once we finish up February, especially because Notion is acting slow. Super slow. So maybe we can even start a new sheet with the refinements on it. Alright, so then we have 0.618, which happens here. So this occurs at 3:30. 355. And 25 minutes. I can do all this NA. When I'm trading, when I'm trading with the mods, with the other mods, I don't risk full size. I risk full size if like their model is adding confluence to my model, especially Freedom's BFs. You know, I'll do that, right, to the most, like at most. But even when I'm trading along with them, I risk a lot less than when I'm just taking my own setup, because you know it's not my trade idea. So that I would consider like my B+ setup. It's like trading with the mods or copying someone else's trade. Alright, so 705, last two here. Apologies. Oh, this is actually the same one, 335. So same stats for this one. 335, we have it. And 335. The stop outs usually occur within 25 minutes, it looks like, on average. I'll have a better idea of that, of course, when I actually do the refinement. But so far, I think 25 minutes seems to be the average, or the longest. If it's a setup that I've been waiting all week, I'm going full size. Otherwise, taking small gains all day, night. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like honestly, for me, the way I do it is I trade evals like straight out the gate, always. And then when my daily bias matches my weekly bias, or whatever the case, like whatever setup that I've been waiting for all week, whatever level I've been waiting for all week, then yes, 100%, I'm with you. I go full size. This entire, like even today though, right, I wouldn't have been full size in this short because my objective was the high. So once that high was met, I'm not necessarily looking to trade anymore. I've already made my money for the week type of thing. So you know, I just choose not to take it full size, or trade evals like after my objective is met. So unfortunately, like even for today, like this beautiful meltdown, albeit even if I was half size, I would have made like a freaking killing. Crazy price action today. Wow. Wait, what size are you trading? 150? Or is that what account size has 10 minis? Okay, yeah, 100k. I was about to say. You know, I only trade the 50ks. We made it, guys. We're at the end of that. Alright, so let me delete this. Man, Notion is beating me. Notion is wearing me down. Yeah, I had no reason to take this short. We were above the PD array and everything. Alright, so here I'm gonna forego this Q3 inversion because we didn't take out Q2. Or this Q3 manipulation. It's... man, it's... Is that a serious question? I know you're joking. You gotta be joking, Cryptic. You were here with the Q3 testing, right? I still use that same model. I trade very aggressively because my budget currently allows me to. Back in the day, as I mentioned in the previous backtest, you know, or even actually maybe it might have been in the New York stream on the Tuesday, I mentioned that, like, POC is that OTE here. I mentioned that when I first started trading evals, it was how many trades do I want to take on this eval before I lose it, right? Otherwise, now, today's era, I'm straight up like, how fast can I pass this eval? You know, if the minimum is always 2 trades because everyone has the consistency rule. So if I want to pass it in 2 trades, how am I gonna do that? So, you know, but you know, I'm also single, guys. I'm not married. I have my own house. I have a very reliable car, so I don't have anything that's gonna possibly, I don't have too many emergencies popping up, you know. Don't do what I do. So yeah, if you have too many expenses, don't do what I do. 100%. Okay, no Q3 here, so we might get a... We don't have a close above this high yet, by the way. So that's what I'm waiting for, but before I take this trade, if we even get one. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, I feel like I remember this day. Okay, so we close this low here, right? But no displacement after the fact in the form of a fair value gap. Okay, so we are at 540 here. And it's just consolidating, so I'm not going to consider any of that a manipulation yet. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, and no, there's also not a manipulation because Q2 is way down here. Q1 is way down here. So we made it through the end of February with no trade. So pretty much the end of the last week of February only had trades on Monday. And then this trade on Thursday that I shouldn't have even taken. So I think technically this is 4 days of no trades. And this is the longest we've gone at all without any trades in this model so far. And again, this is really questionable on whether I should have taken this or not. This is probably an invalid rep, which is I need to put in the notes so that I can review this. All right, does anyone have any questions about anything else? It's 7:21 now. Adrian's gonna hop on at 8:30, so I'm gonna like have a snack, maybe take a nap, maybe run around the corner. I don't know. I'm gonna take a quick break until 8:30 and hop right back on with him. we will do our refinement of this model on Saturday 100%. Since we've gotten through February completely, we're going to go through all the data, dissect it as much as possible, see what we can strip away from this sheet, maybe create a new sheet, or maybe just decide to just continue with this and delete some things. Who knows? Like duplicate it and then delete some things. So far the stats are as follows: 62% win rate at 2.5 R. If someone is faster at math, please tell us what type of profitability that is, but that's really good profitability off the top of my head. As long as you're, I think, who has the R chart? Someone has to have the R chart on us. Let's see. I don't even know what I don't know what channel it is on in our server, to be honest with you. Someone has to have it. Someone have the R chart, the 3R at 50% win rate and blah blah blah. No one has it, huh? We are such good traders. All of us should be having, all of this should have this at the tip of our fingers. Tell me you manage risk without telling me you manage risk. Let me go into my journal really quick and find it. Oh my goodness, it's not here neither. Someone posted it yesterday. Okay, is it in premium chat? We're the ones back testing and none of us have this risk to reward chart on us. I have no idea what mentorship it would even be in. I don't know if it's in LMTs, if it's in JDs. I don't know if it's even in the mentorship channels. No, it's not even in the mentorship channels. Okay. I'm gonna take a second to find it. Oh, Anya posted it. Okay. Let me search. Anya has image. Okay, literally everything she posts has an image. Give me 1 second, I will find it. Are you sure it was yesterday or was it like the other day? I can't see the chat anyway right now, hold on. Let me scroll and find. Oh, there it is. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Thank you. Oh, nice. Okay, got it. Alright, so we are averaging 2R. So 1 to 2, and we're at 60. So we're profitable. Way, way profitable. We're in right column profitable. Okay? So roughly, you know, 3 out of 5 times you're gonna win. So 6 out of 10 times, obviously 60%. So yeah, pretty good, and you're always going to 2.5R that three times. So looking good so far. What I want to get into is dissecting the OTE levels. So I think I already have columns for that. Yeah, so I have a table for OTE levels, a table for macros, and then I also want to get into the quarters to see like what quarter has the most profitability as far as entry goes. But yeah, we will go through all this data on Saturday. Be there, be square. And that should be a fairly short session. Shouldn't take us too long. Oh, no, I'm lying. I'm going to be on a plane on Saturday. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to do this. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be here on Saturday. Oh my goodness. I'm going to be on a plane. I'm going to be gone from Saturday to Saturday. So, excuse me. So it'll be like August 11th or something, Tuesday, that we're going to do. I don't want the entire August 12th. August 12th, we're going to do the refinement. I'm so sorry, guys. Every year in August, I take a vacation to Cayman Islands. This is like a celebration every single year that I'm still not living. I'm not a bum. Thank God. So I'm so sorry, Soy. But yes, no. This is not a fancy trip. This is a trip I take every year. So it's like it's my second home. I'm trying to get like a citizenship there and everything. But yeah, guys, I will see you in an hour with Adrian. We're gonna go over the daily review, the weekly review, and of course do a weekly forecast. And we will also go over the monthly checklist since we're rounding out this month. It is a great time to do that for those of you that need tips on how to journal, things like that. Please do show up tonight, 8:30, in 1 hour. Next year, maybe. Next year, maybe. All right, guys. Peace.